So I'm Dr. Gabriel Orsi, Project Manager with the Northwest MHTTC, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, the 8th and final installment in our series, We Make the Path by Walking with Rebekah Demirel. Hopefully you've had a chance to review some of these details on the slide that we're not offering CEUs today, and we are going to be offering certificates of attendance. We're going to have a interactive activity with a tool called Poll Everywhere, and our staff is going to post in the chat these instructions on how to take part in this activity. But basically, you can either text the letters NWMHTTC for Northwest Mental Health Technology Transfer Center to the number 22333, or you can visit that link in your browser and type an answer in. And if all else fails, we welcome your responses in the chat. So hopefully you're in the right place where you expect it to be. And the last installment of our Provider Wellbeing series, We Make the Path by Walking with Rebekah Demirel. I'm really pleased that we've had such a fabulous series and so a lot of repeat folks in the audience. And if you're new, welcome. And if you've been here before, well, you probably know some of what I'm going to say, but please bear with me. The Northwest MHTTC is part of the MHTTC network. It's a national network supported by SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. The network aims to disseminate and implement evidence-based practices for mental health issues into the workforce. And the goals of the network include supporting evidence-based practices for mental health, fostering regional and national alliances, heightening the awareness, knowledge, and skills of the workforce, and providing and connecting you with free training and technical assistance like today's webinar. The Northwest MHTTC specifically serves HHS Region 10, which is Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. Our target workforce includes behavioral health and primary care providers, school and social service staff, and others whose work has the potential to improve behavioral health outcomes for individuals with or at risk of developing serious mental illness. We fulfill our mission through live events like this one that we also record and post on our website. We also conduct virtual learning communities, free self-paced online courses. We publish a newsletter regularly. Our website has a resource library. We connect you with other training centers and their events and a lot more. So we invite you to link up with us on social media, our website, or through our newsletter to keep abreast of all the things we're doing. I just want to take a moment to offer a land acknowledgement. The Pacific Northwest has long been inhabited by a rich variety of cultures, and we want to acknowledge that as a center based in Seattle, Washington, we sit on the traditional land of the Duwamish and Coast Salish peoples, past and present, and we're grateful for their stewardship of the land throughout the generations. A word about language. We encourage everyone to use language that demonstrates respect for a person's dignity and worth, is consistent with recovery-oriented practices, and promotes treatment environments that foster respect, dignity, and hope. And of course, as this session is being recorded, please be mindful of confidentiality issues if you refer to folks that you work with. So some housekeeping. We are going to keep everybody muted due to the large audience today and off camera. The presentation is being recorded, and we'll make the recording and slides available on our website in a few weeks. You'll have an email alert about that. You'll also have an email alert about the certificate of attendance. So please note that it sometimes looks like a spam email. If you don't see it within a few weeks, feel free to contact us. We are not offering formal CEUs for this event. If there's some sort of Zoom bombing or Zoom issue, we'll just try to stay calm and then regroup and hopefully just get through it. We have been really fortunate that we haven't had any such issues on our webinars, but hopefully this one will be just smooth sailing. Asking questions. If you are asking a question about the subject being presented today, or you have a question for our presenter, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen to input that. Please put in those questions whenever they occur to you throughout the presentation. We'll monitor the Q&A box, and we have a Q&A period designated at the end for of the presentation. for general questions and comments, and again, if at certain moments, if you have feedback you want to share, please use the chat box for that. The Northwest MHTTC staff on the call will be monitoring the chat box, and we will attempt to help you with any technical issues or answer any of those questions that don't have to do with the subject matter of today's presentation. Okay, evaluation. Your feedback is really critical to our work, and we appreciate your response to our short survey that will circulate after today's presentation. It just takes a few minutes. We're required by our grantor, SAMHSA, to conduct this survey, and it's your participation that keeps the free trainings flowing. So please take a moment to do it. Our team is going to be sharing that link also in the chat today. You'll get an email reminder tomorrow from Zoom with the link to the eval as well. So surely we truly appreciate your response. Disclaimer, I won't read this to you, I promise, but SAMHSA doesn't take an official position on the content presented today. SAMHSA does sponsor our center. And finally, getting close to the end of the housekeeping, Rebekah Demirel is the founder and director of Trauma Integration Programs. She has more than a decade of experience as an ambulance paramedic and 2 decades plus of experience as a paramedic trainer. She's been counseling folks with mental health for nearly 20 years. She specializes in traumatic stress. She's got a really interesting background because she brings to that combination of skills also training as a licensed East Asian medicine practitioner and acupuncturist. Her just unique skill set and experiences in all these dimensions is informed by her own traumatic childhood and teen years on the street and in the foster care system. So she's got a real special familiarity and empathy for those folks who are going through hard times. I'm just so pleased to welcome her back for this 8th and final installment in our series. So now we are taking a moment to do our interactive Poll Everywhere activity. The instructions are both on your screen and coming up in the chat. Just share with us, if you wish, what one word describes how you're feeling today.
This is like my favorite part. I love this because it's like I'm here with you, you know, so tell me how you're feeling. And I probably feel a lot of those things too. Hopeful, frustrated, stressed. We go through so much in a given day, eh? Happy. Happy. So the response that comes the most often is the largest in the letters. So glad to see that so many people are happy and relaxed and content, calmer, peaceful, confused. It's confusing times we're in. Yeah. That's wonderful. Great. Excited. Somebody's moving this weekend.
Great, great. Well, thank you to everyone who took a moment to respond. We appreciate your responses. I'm going to hand the mic and the baton and all the other things over to Rebekah.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here with me again today. If this is another time that you're coming back, or if this is your first time, welcome. I want to begin by acknowledging that I live and work on the unceded traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking Coast Salish people here in Victoria, British Columbia. So I recognize that this is their land, and I'm a visitor here, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for doing the word cloud. I would like to say that my word today is open. And, you know, it's not that I'm 100% open. I think there's more of me. If I had a scale, I would say, yeah, there's more open than not. But that's something that I'm continuously working towards, is just just feeling open and being open to whatever. And that's where this title for this series came from. We make the path by walking, simply by putting one foot in front of the other. We're kind of learning how to move forward. So today we're exploring how we actually walk through this life, what we value, why we value what we do, and seeing how we can find meaning through the adversity that we're all experiencing. These are exceptional times that we're in right now. And if there's one thing that I think that this pandemic, for instance, has taught us, is how interdependent we're all together. We're all breathing the same air. We're really being shown that every day by the fact that the pandemic does not discern whether somebody has more money than another person, or what color a person's skin is, or where they live. We're all breathing the same air on this climate, or on this planet, and in this climate. And so my questions to you today are just to try to stir up some more in us so that we can really be aware of how we're walking through life and how we're treating ourselves and others. As always, as I'm an East Asian medicine practitioner, and I'm into everything that's alternative. Actually, I'm into anything that helps heal us. So this is not an East Asian medicine practice, this kind of breathing I'm about to show you, but it's a yogic exercise. And all of these self-care practices that I've been sharing throughout this webinar series are for you to use, and for you to carry in your back pocket, to use for yourself, to use for your clients, to share with friends and family, and to just remember how important breathing is in the stress response, in this fight or flight response. One of the things that happens is we hold our breath, right? So anything that helps us be conscious of our breathing is going to help release some of that trauma and calm down our sympathetic nervous system. So for this particular exercise, just like all of the self-care exercises, I'll just invite you to feel your seat in your chair, feel your feet on the ground, feel where you're at. If your spine is straight, that's great, because it just helps all of your nervous system that runs along your spine be open, our central nervous system. So this yogic exercise helps us reduce stress, anxiety, headaches, asthma, anger. It just helps pour a lot out of us. And what we'll be doing is breathing in for 4 through our nose, and then we're going to hold for 7 seconds. And that might seem like a long time, but when you just relax, you don't have to sort of grip. You just relax and stop. And then when we exhale through our mouths forcefully. So let's do 3 cycles together. I'll just invite you to, again, feel your seat in your chair. Let your jaw just kind of relax. You can close your eyes if you like. I usually close my eyes too when I'm doing this. So just let all the air out of your lungs and breathe in deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll hold for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 2 more. And inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice and easy. And fill yourself up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let it out for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wonderful. Thank you for doing that with me. This exercise, like the 618 breathing that I've taught before, which I think we'll be doing a cycle of that later on. When we exhale a little bit longer than we inhale, it sends a signal to the vagus nerve, that's the 10th cranial nerve, and that vagus nerve communicates with our parasympathetic rest and digest part of our nervous system and tells us just to chill right out. It also communicates with the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system and down regulates that. So this is a very calming technique that you can use anytime. Keep it in your back pocket and share it with your friends and clients. Okay, so here are some of the deep questions I want to ask today. We've been through now more than a year of pandemic, and there's been a lot happening in the world over the last few years. We get to notice even more because it's in the media: racial violence, gender violence, cultural violence, climate violence, war. There's war. It seems to be war everywhere. And we have our own small wars that we try to fight. We have a war that our political figures like to talk about, the war on drugs, which is actually a war on people. And it's a war especially on poor, traumatized people. And so really, what is our part in this? What are we doing? How are we walking through life? What are we doing to make things better? How are we doing our own personal work? What are we learning from what we're experiencing right now? What has happened and what is happening? And what can we do now? Huge questions. So let's see how, if we walk together, we can answer some of those and get some insight. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I've talked about this before, is cynicism. And cynicism is that pessimistic, deeply distrustful kind of feeling that we have. We don't believe in sincerity. We don't believe in integrity and good. And it's natural to feel this way. We see this all around us. We see this in our political figures all around the world. And we can feel justified in being cynical when we've been disappointed often. And we express it when we're angry or defensive, and we feel, actually, cynicism is a type of fear, and it's also a type of grief. It's like from crushed hope. I've said this before, but I see that cynicism comes from having our hopes crushed over and over again, and somewhere in there, there's this fear that I'll never have what I want, I'll never have what I need. And if we look at some of our political figures who have a lot of power and are using that power in ways that hurt people, if you scratch the surface, you definitely see the cynicism and you definitely see the fear underneath there. And we definitely, if we look closer, we see the utter loneliness and devastation of these people that are so deeply cynical that they are hurting others in our world. I remember I was trying to say to somebody one time, oh, well, you can't have anything. See, I said it again. You can't have everything. And I said, oh, well, you can't have anything. See how it comes so automatically, because it's still in me. It's a cynicism that, oh, well, I can't have anything. And I still, small things like a hot shower every day still amaze me. I still have such gratitude, because I'm still so surprised when I have anything in my life, when I have goodness in my life. So it takes a long time to heal this cynicism. And it's very important that we notice it in ourselves so that we can become aware of it and make different choices about how we're looking, the lenses that we're looking through. And cynicism is a type of anger, and it is a type of fear, and it is a type of grief. And yes, anger does have a purpose. This is Tara Brach. She's an American psychoanalyst. She's a Buddhist, a teacher. She does emotional healing and spiritual awakening. And talking about anger, she says the purpose of anger is to let us know that there's an obstacle to our well-being and to energize us to act. So there's a real purpose to anger. It can get us going. And it's natural and necessary for survival and thriving. And it's a powerful energy, but sometimes it can take us over and possess us, and it leads to suffering. So it might be a good place to start, our anger, but it needs to transform into something else. So this may get us going with being activists and being people who want to make change in our world, but it can't be the only thing that drives us. So another thing to look at, how much is our anger driving us, and are we allowing it to transform? Because it's a fire, and a fire can burn, and it can also burn away illusions too. So our anger does have a purpose, but we need to watch that and be conscious of that. Because if we want to make change happen as we're walking through this life, we need to look at ourselves. Maya Angelou, who I love, she says that if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude. So Maya Angelou, American poet, civil rights activist, huge civil rights activist. She wrote 7 autobiographies. She was a prolific writer, and a huge loss that she passed away a few years ago. 50 honorary degrees. And the thing about this, her statement here, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, is that we look out at what needs to change in the world. We look out at all the systems that need to change, but it needs to keep coming back to us. What do I need to do to change something in myself? How can I change my attitude? How can I change my outlook? And I always like to say that I'm preaching to the choir, you guys. I know that you know this stuff, and I know that you cultivate this stuff and you teach this stuff. And I am here to keep reinforcing that in you and to keep supporting you in doing that, because we are all interdependent. We are all here together. This making these slides and doing these presentations for the last 4 months has been this most amazing thing for me. And I started thinking, what's the most important thing? So this is my question to you. What's the most important thing to you in your life? And I'll tell you in a minute what I've come up with when I asked that question to myself. So in order to figure out what is most important to you, you might want to look at how much of your time and attention you are giving to something. And whatever we give the most time and attention to might be actually the most important thing. And oh my God, we might not want to look at the fact that I'm giving so much time and attention to my device. Is that really the most important thing to me? And then that question of how much of my time and attention am I giving to something, is it really the most important thing that I'm giving my time attention to? And do I have regrets? And what are those? And can I change something now? And what makes my heart sing? So I'll tell you that from the Gospel of St. Thomas, he said, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. But if you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And so I'm here to say that when I look closely at this in myself, what I see is most important is bringing forth. So I think that's why I'm here. That's why I get to be here talking to you, this immense privilege and honor to be here talking with you, and why I get to share my life talking to people and listening to people in my practice, whether it's counseling or doing acupuncture, because they kind of combine together. Also bringing forth for me is gardening and bringing forth something from the soil. And bringing forth for me is singing. So you know what, we're going to sing a song today because it's important to me, and it makes my heart sing to do that. So that's just, I wanted to share with you what I find is the most important thing in my life and what kind of drives me and what takes my time and attention. So it's just a beautiful self-inquiry that I want to share with you, that I would hope that you do. Let's do a little bit more self-care as we kind of sink into that. Gee, what is most important for me? So I am going to show you a little meditation here. It's called Safe Here Now. I created this myself. And we're going to be using acupoints and tapping on them. So the acupoints are, and it's head, heart, and gut, not surprisingly, a nice simple meditation with our head, heart, and gut and feeling safe in those places. So the head one is between your eyebrows on the forehead. It's a point called yin tongue, and that's the head. On the chest, the heart, we find our collarbone, and just underneath that is the first rib. So you find that little hollow underneath there. There's one, go down another rib, there's two, go down another rib, there's three, and one more rib, four, and then move right to the center of your sternum, your breastbone. That's the chest one. Okay, that's the heart one. And then the belly one, find your belly button and go take your 2 fingers and go 3 inches below. So just take your 3 fingers like this and just go about 2 inches below your belly button. And that is the gut one. So this one's called Ren Tong, and this one's called Guan Yuan. And Guan Yuan means origin gate. Okay, enough of the acupoints. Let's do this. Sit quietly in your seat. Feel your seat in the chair. Feel your feet on the ground. Allow your jaw to relax. Feel whatever sensations are in your body, and we're going to breathe through our nose for this. And your eyes can be either open or closed. So just start tapping with your fingertips on the spot between your eyebrows. And just breathing normally. And we just say 3 times, I am safe here now. I am safe here now. I am safe here now. And then we find the one on our chest. I am safe here now. I am safe here now. I am safe here now. Good. And just below your belly button and tapping there. And breathing, I am safe here now. I am safe here now. I am safe here now. Take a couple of breaths. This is how we practice feeling safe, because we're safe here. We're safe in all these places right here, right now. We may have memories of times when we were not safe, but we're safe right now. We're feeling our seat in our chair. We're feeling our feet on the ground. We're breathing. You're looking at me. You're safe now. I don't know if I coined this phrase or not, but I call living deeply squeezing the richness from life. So some more questions I have for you are, what do you look back at and what do you look forward to? Who do you thank for what you have in your life, and who do you blame for what you don't have? What do you think is right in the world? What do you think is wrong in the world? You know, we need resistance. We need adversity, actually, to find the resistance, to find resilience. I'm going to say that again. We need adversity. And that's how we become resilient, so we have something to push up against. It's like the dandelion coming up through the pavement, right? It needs something to push against for it to spring forth into this beautiful flower. And we're all like that. No matter how much adversity we have, we get whatever we need to become as resilient as we are. We squeeze the richness from life through all of the difficulties and hardships. You know, some of the most resilient, incredible people I know are the people that have had the most difficult lives. And I bet you could say that too. It's a matter of integration. It's a matter of finding ways to feel safe, to remember that we are safe, to practice feeling safe, to feel those feelings once we feel safe, to gather the awareness and insight from those feelings, to see the changes that happen to us, and then to just keep doing those things over and over again. That's our integration. That's the way we integrate our trauma. Speaking of somebody who's amazing at integrating trauma, Clarissa Pinkola Estes, she was born to Mexican parents, adopted by Hungarian immigrants, and raised in rural Indiana. And she is a Jungian analyst, a Jungian psychoanalyst. And she does this amazing work with wild self, with especially wild women. And she interweaves myths with this wild woman archetype. And I remember I lived on a small Gulf island called Quadra Island here in British Columbia. Us girls who, we all gardened and wore gumboots and Birkenstocks, and we just loved laying around together and getting into the hot tub together and reading Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is where this quote is from. And if you haven't read Women Who Run with the Wolves, it's been around a long time, but I mean, it was on the bestseller list for 145 weeks. It's an incredible book. If you haven't read it, go ahead and find it. There's probably lots of used copies everywhere. But, with the wild self, Clarissa says, the doors to the world of the wild self are few but precious. If you have a deep scar, that is a door. It gives me goosebumps. If you have an old story, that is a door. If you love the sky and the water so much you almost cannot bear it, that is a door. If you yearn for a deeper life, a full life, a sane life, that is a door. They're all doors. We're all walking along together, trying to find these doors, and yet everything is a door. Everything that we choose to walk through, everything that we give ourselves through is a door. I just thought that was a beautiful quote, and I wanted to share it with you. Another person I admire is Max Strom. You might not have heard of him, but he wrote a beautiful book that I just stumbled across. Sometimes I'll go to the bookstore and just kind of look along and let my hand take the book off the shelf, just let my intuition take the book off the shelf for me. And I came across A Life Worth Breathing. And Max Strom was born with 2 club feet, and he was told, you're never going to walk. And, he was at school, the kids were always teasing him and bullying him. And he somehow was able to overcome a lot of that early adversity and become this amazing yoga teacher. And he teaches breath work. He teaches all of the breath work that I show you and more. He's an incredible teacher, so check him out. He says, when we are in pain, we can become self-centered and myopic with our own pain. But I love this. When we heal, we become more sympathetic to the pain and welfare of others. It is our gift to others to heal ourselves. So that's what we're doing. Our life, as we're walking along, bringing forth whatever we need to heal ourselves, is our gift to others to heal ourselves. That's so beautiful. I can't tell you how important that is and what a beautiful insight that is. So reverse breathing. I want to share another wonderful self-care technique with you. This is an interesting one. It's a Taoist exercise. So Taoism is where Chinese medicine comes from. It's only done once a day. And the reason why is because we breathe normally and we expand our abdomen, or our chest and abdomen, our lungs, and we allow our belly to expand to increase our capacity for breathing in. And then we exhale and all of that contracts. So that's normal breathing. Reverse breathing is the opposite of that. So when we breathe in, we're going to allow our belly to come in instead of out. And when we exhale, we allow our belly to go out. Might seem really weird to you, but if we do it once a day and we practice this, it strengthens our abdominal muscles, it strengthens our immune systems. It's a really great stress reliever. It increases lung capacity. So try it. And if any of these exercises, if you're getting dizzy or lightheaded or anything, you're working too hard. Okay, so just mellow out, calm yourself down, and let's feel our seat in our chair. Feel your feet on the ground. I'll lead you through this. Let your jaw relax as usual, and that tongue just floats to the roof of your mouth. Nice and mellow. Your spine is nice and straight. And go ahead and close your eyes. And we'll do 5 cycles of this. Okay, so as we inhale, you're going to draw your abdomen in. So I'll do counts of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then as we exhale, we allow our bellies to go out. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 5 counts. Sorry, 3 wasn't enough. So let's inhale for 5 and let your belly come in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale as your belly comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And inhale, belly comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, belly comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do one more. And inhale for 5, belly comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale for 5 as your belly comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great, thank you. I know it seems a little frenetic as I'm trying to guide you through this, but suffice it to say that if you practice this once a day, you're going to see some really great effects in your nervous system. And it's who doesn't need their immune system boosted these days and our lung capacity increased. So I hope that you will try this. So I think I've spoken about this before, but it's a very important concept in East Asian medicine called bun and biao, which means root and branch. So this is to say that everything that starts has a root, and everything that manifests are branches. So for instance, when we have wounds or trauma to us, to our souls, to our being, how we behave or manifest that trauma and that pain is the branches. So an even more easy way to think about this, and I was doing a public talk with Gabor Mate, and he was asking me, well, how does East Asian medicine look at addiction? And right away what came to me is, so the roots, if we're looking at roots and branches, addiction, the roots of addiction is the pain, the suffering, whatever experience has happened, experiences have happened in our life that are painful. And the manifestation of those is the addiction. Okay, that's the branches. And if we can think about anything in our lives, any kind of trauma that we have, there's always some way that we're trying to adapt to that. And so all of our behaviors, all of our addictions, all of our maladaptive ways that we relate are the adaptations to our pain. So I think this is a really important concept when we are considering the clients that we work with that have very difficult backgrounds. And some of them, it may not even seem like they have a difficult background, but it's not what happens to us, it's what we do with what happened to us. So it's our sensitivity and how the experiencer experience the experience. That's what I'm most interested in. So if we always look at ourselves and our clients and our families and our humanity as what is at the root of things and what are the manifestations of that, I think it's a good way to really understand what's going on. So I have a blog, and it's quite a neglected blog, I should say, because I looked at the last post and it was 2018. So I will get back in there, but I was reading it and thinking about living this life without regrets. And so I was looking at this one post, which is in the resources. It'll be in the resources for this particular webinar session. And I was looking at how I had hurt myself in my life based on my beliefs that were formed through my early childhood trauma. And I was always looking for myself outside of myself. And that became my addiction. And like all addictions, I kept coming back to it time and time again because it almost worked. And that's how addictions are. They almost work. So we keep coming back to them because almost works to ease my pain, but it only does it a little bit, and it's only temporary, and it really doesn't do what I hope it will do. And also my beliefs became a template. The way I was behaving and these beliefs became a template that I projected on the world. And the evidence I looked for became my reality, because I was projecting it on the world, and all of a sudden everybody was someone that I couldn't trust and somebody that was going to hurt me. That was my reality based on my beliefs, based on my experience, based on how I experienced my experience. I was watching a movie the other night. It's an older movie called Wild, where this woman, Reese Witherspoon, she has, a difficult childhood. And her, father was very violent towards the children and her mother. And to try to adapt to that pain, she lived her life much like I did and hurt herself through trying to find worth in other people. And near the end of the movie, as she hikes this 1,000 miles through this painful journey, she says, what if all those things I did are what got me here? And that resonates with me, because now at this point in my life, because I keep on trying to bring forth what is within me, not holding anything back, is I go, yeah, everything I did, all the incredibly stupid, dangerous, crazy, mean things that I did, what if all those are what got me here? What if everything that all of us do, what gets us is what gets us to where we are? It's the only way that I can even think about my life, is to give myself that that gentleness with saying, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Whatever you did, whatever you think that you did wrong, you're here now and you're learning. I want to read you a poem. We're getting to the end. I talk too much, but it's such an honor. Mary Oliver, who I love, she says, when I am among the trees, close your eyes if you like, I'll read this to you. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locusts, equally the beech, the oaks and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I'd almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself.
Okay, looks like unfortunately Rebekah has frozen, so I'm just going to give her a moment here to see if Zoom will unfreeze.
Okay, I'm still here.
Right, we just have been waiting. You froze and vanished, so maybe we can just.
So what should I do? A screen share again?
Yeah, I would just resume on that slide and see if you can pick up the thread where you left off.
Okay. Okay.
Metaphor for life, right?
Okay, good. Staying mellow, staying calm. Shine is what I wanted to say to you. 618 breathing. I've taught you this before, and I'm looking at the time, but hell, let's do it again. Feel your seat in your chair and your feet on the ground. And 618 breathing is such a wonderful, simple one to carry in your back pocket. And let's just do it together. Let your jaw relax. And we'll breathe in for 6 through our nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 1 and exhale through your nose for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 2 more. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 1 and breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 more. Breathe in for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 1 and out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know why this quote got me, from James Michener, American writer. It says, we're never prepared for what we expect. And somehow that's true, that we expect something, but we're never quite prepared for it, because we actually don't really know. We think we know, but we actually don't really know what it is that's going to happen. We keep expecting something, and maybe we even plan for things, but we're never really prepared for the moment until we're in the moment. I think that's exactly what that means. I have another quote. So this is from Jack Gilbert. He's an American poet. He wrote, he's kind of a beat poet, and he wrote a lot of wonderful poems. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner, and he didn't want to be famous, so he kind of became a recluse in Europe. And this is some lines about risking delight from a poem called A Brief for the Defense. So this is just some of that. And he says, we must risk delight. We can do without pleasure, but not delight, not enjoyment. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of this world. To make injustice the only measure of our attention is to praise the devil. And, you know, I don't believe in the devil. I don't even believe in evil. But what he's saying is, if injustice is the only thing that we're focused on and not our delight, we also need to cultivate our delight and to allow ourselves to be delighted and to sparkle and to shine. And I have a song for you. It's my own indulgence, yes, singing these songs, and I think this is the third one I've done in this series. But you know, singing is a shamanic kind of practice, and we come together in song, in sharing our voices to share anger and grief and sadness and joy and birth and death, and song is very important to us. So let me just teach you. This is from Tret Fure, and Tret Fure, I put her website also in the resources from this webinar, so you'll be able to look. She's a wonderful singer-songwriter, and this is just the chorus from one of her songs. It's very intuitive. I'm going to sing it a few times, and I just welcome you to sing it with me because it's beautiful. This is from a song called, where is it? Spread It Around. So this is the song Spread It Around. So it goes like this. In the spring, I take a deep breath. In the summer, I'm looking for a ride. In the fall, it's all about leaving. And in the winter, I stay inside. Okay, so this is very intuitive. You see how it da-da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of nice and easy. There is little motions that you can do with it. So let's sing this a few times. In the spring, I take a deep breath. In the summer, I'm looking for a ride. In the fall, it's all about leaving. And in the winter, I stay inside. In the spring, I take a deep breath. In the summer, I'm looking for a ride. In the fall, it's all about leaving. And in the winter, I stay inside. Let's sing it 2 more times with me. In the spring, I take a deep breath. In the summer, I'm looking for a ride. In the fall, it's all about leaving. And in the winter, I stay inside. In the spring, I take a deep breath. In the summer, I'm looking for a ride. In the fall, it's all about leaving. And in the winter, I stay inside. Isn't that fun? Thank you, everybody. That's it for me, for my talking and singing and all that. I would love some questions from you and discussion. And Gabriel's going to come back and facilitate those. And before she does that, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that has joined me. I want to say a huge thank you to Gabriel and Alexis and Christina and Rebecca and all of the people at UW for supporting me and believing in me and allowing me this privilege and honor and sheer delight in being with you. So I wanted to not forget to say that. So now please, any questions you have, I welcome. Thank you.
Wow, well, thank you, Rebecca. It's been our privilege to host you for this series of both webinars and podcasts. I've given a few shout outs to your podcast series in our chat. So please look on our website for those. I'm seeing a lot of messages in the chat. thanking you for the series and for your participation.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, um, we are going to share the slide deck, resources, and the recording of this webinar on our website. It usually takes us a little time to post that, so look for that on our website. We'll alert you through an email with a link to where you can find it. There's a question about if we're going to join forces with you in the future. I wish I had a definite answer to that question. We're in the midst of planning for our upcoming grant years, so I don't have a definitive answer at this point, but I really appreciate the feedback that you're eager to see, Rebekah, again. Let's see, I'm not seeing anything in the Q&A.
Just love is enough. You know, I've been feeling all the love and support from everybody, and it's just been.
Oh, and now I am seeing 2 questions in the Q&A. So let's start off with Brandon's question. And Brandon asks, when doing the little birds exercise or any short wellness activity involving rapid eye movement, is there any danger of having negative responses from people?
Well, so what, Brandon, is that right? So Brandon is referring to an exercise that I've done a couple of times in these webinars, and it's based on EMDR, which is eye movement reprocessing. So it's an exercise that helps unlock or unstick the traumatic response of the freeze response of the eyes and breathing. So it's rolling the eyes back and forth. And, you know, I think you have to use an exercise like that when you believe a client is ready for it. I have never seen anyone have an adverse response to that. It doesn't mean that they haven't, but I think as with any exercises, we use our intuition, we use our gut instincts based on how a client, for instance, is presenting, and use your judgment, and also be ready to, if it seems like it's not working for somebody, just stop it and get them to go back to their just a simple breathing, like the 618 breathing.
Great. Another question from Jennifer Anderson Swift. Jennifer asks, how often should we do these breathing exercises?
Geez, I do them all day, all the time. You know, everything that I share are things that I use for my own self-care and for my own integration. And, you know, we have levels of cortisol that fluctuate in our bodies. And funny enough, when we're waking up in the morning, our cortisol levels, and that's a stress hormone, are at their highest when we're just waking up in the morning. So I will sometimes wake up anxious. And when I do, I will use the 618 breathing, or I'll use another one, the colors and sounds exercise, the Chinese one that I've shown in some of these webinars. So yeah, I say do them often, do them as needed. The reverse breathing, remember, just do that once a day, but the other ones, yeah, you know, use them as you need them, and allow time in between for things to settle, because we want things to be like, you know, exactly when we want them, and we want them right now. But give yourself time when you do an exercise to let the dust settle, and then see where you're at afterwards.
Wonderful. A follow-up question on that. Just the audience is curious how you feel about burning sage and oils.
Oh, yeah. Well, since you asked, some of you might, if you've been in the last couple of webinars where I spoke about my brother's recent sudden death, and his ashes came to me, and I burned sage and just helped release anything from him. And then, and essential oils, I love too. I use them a lot. And then when I found a beautiful spot to put his ashes, and use sweetgrass to just sweeten his journey. So some of these practices from Aboriginal medicine are very, very helpful and very beautiful. And I love the smell of smudge, sage burning too. It just makes me feel good. So I personally love those.
Okay. Another question from the audience. Have you developed ways or have any suggestions for measuring the client's progress through wellness activities? I think this person is seeking some kind of data collection to help with funding for wellness services.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I guess just measuring clients' progress through wellness
Oh,
activities.
have I documented
Or,
measuring clients' progress by using these
yeah,
tools?
or is there some way that when folks are doing wellness activities that you are tracking their progress, I guess?
Oh, well, I mean, if somebody is my client and we're doing these wellness activities, and in addition to whatever insights they may gain from feeling safe and accessing their own feelings, which may have been hidden for years, I mean, I consider these kinds of, like, the breathing techniques, kind of adjuncts to whatever the personal work the person is doing. And Sure. I mean, I would track the progress of my own clients based on how they're presenting and what they say about how they feel and how they're living their lives. If you're talking about having some hard data on that, I don't, but I believe a lot of these types of breathing exercises and other self-care techniques, I believe there are some clinical trials that have been used, they've been used in. So that's the best I can say to that. It's kind of anecdotal.
Sure, certainly. Yeah, and to me, it's kind of interesting to try to put the language of data collection and metrics around something like wellness.
Right.
Maybe, yeah, maybe those, like you're saying, those resources are a little more tracked when there's like a research study versus working on an individual
Yeah.
basis. Um, let's see, I'm not
Can I
seeing
say
other.
too about that, Gabriel,
Oh,
that
sure.
that I appreciate that question too, because
Mm-hmm.
there's this left brain, right brain, thing
Mm-hmm.
going on where we may intuitively feel that something is right, but that we want the data to be able to show that yes, this actually does work, and that may not be available on everything that does work. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's two more comments in the Q&A, but I'm not sure what the questions are. Um,
Can I ask, are we going a little over? Are we still okay for
wait,
time?
yeah, thank you for reining me in. I think since I'm not sure what these are comments or feedback or questions, I think we're going to have to wrap up for now.
Yeah,
Uh, once again, thank you everybody
thank
for
you.
attending. We're so grateful to have you here today, or possibly for some of you folks throughout our sessions. Our evaluation survey link is in the chat now. We really appreciate your time today, and we very much are appreciative of Rebekah's time. So thank you, everybody, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to join us on our website or through our newsletter or on social media. Yeah. Thank you again,
Thank
and
you.